Ooh. My head's all wrong. Okay. Sarah.
Howdy.
Oh.
Oh, I've got my video blocked, I think, somehow.
Oh, hold on a minute. That was
Unable to start video.
it's because I need to change the settings again on Zoom. Wait a minute.
Why is it always hard
It's
work,
recording
Zoom?
this time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I heard it. Say it.
Me too. Recording in progress.
I know.
Like that.
Oh, we've got 2 early people. That's grand. Hello, Adrian. Hello,
Oh.
Caroline. A lot more punctual than this morning. You should be able to get your videos on now. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. I think an afternoons is definitely more well attended, even with the Brits.
Really?
Do you think so? It's a good afternoon time though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not too
it's
late.
time. I think as well, it's like with the Q&As on the GMA, you know, doing them we do them at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they seem to be better attended than
Americans can join then, can't they?
So that again.
Americans can join then.
Yeah. Mind you, unless you're Ben and you're getting up at 5 o'clock to do yoga.
Yeah, I really like that.
That was crazy.
He is a crazy boy. I do love him though. He's great.
I think he came last time, didn't he? And
I think so.
California.
And he was up for morning yoga. Yeah, I like that.
Crazy.
Oh, we didn't do that thing this morning about where everybody's from, did we? Put a little flag in the window.
No.
We all love Ben. We do love Ben, Andrea.
Yeah.
He came on this morning and I was like, Ben, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning with you. What are you doing? I'm doing my morning yoga before we go out on the site.
Love that.
So anyways, I went for a little walk at lunchtime. So I've hopefully
Me too. Me
Good.
too. Wally's absolutely crashed because it's so warm. We didn't go very far, but
I went to the post office.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Brazil. Caroline is in Brazil. Oh, how nice. Post office to a walk. I don't know.
But I think she walked to the post office, didn't you, Erin?
Yeah, like as in we drove kind of like nearby and then walked kind of like
what?
halfway.
You're not that far from
Erin.
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 Do you want to see how I'm walking
yesterday.
today? I was like a toddler, okay, walking through town. It was so embarrassing.
Suffering. Even though she did really well yesterday, today she's paying.
Generation Z. No, you're what are you? Gen Z?
Yeah, Gen Z,
aren't
yeah.
you? You're supposed to be more like outdoorsy and
I am.
like
I walked 25 miles yesterday.
yeah.
With no training. Training. So she did all right. She did fine.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'll let you off then. I'll let you off. Yeah,
I think it's hilarious.
Oh.
So this time I'm not messing with the recording because I was so mad when it didn't record this morning.
So it didn't record.
No.
Do we know?
No, it didn't record.
It was
No.
paused, wasn't it?
It was on pause.
That's
It's because I came on early to test all the stuff out, and then Bella, so those who are listening in, Bella, who's our other colleague, turned off the power off my laptop and screen, and everything just disappeared. This was 15 minutes before. So we had a little technical hiccup this morning, which was quite amusing. So, anyways. Yeah, I'll be interested to know what Rachel thought. Actually, she's TSA, so from Survey Association, because she was they're doing a lot. They're trying to do a lot with the recruitment side. And me and Bella had a really good chat about Anthony's question. You know, about retaining people that are getting poached with massive sums.
Oh, yeah.
It got me thinking as well. It was a good question.
Yeah, so that was quite an interesting thing. Is I was thinking about it from my own perspective. I mean, I suppose we're in a nice little group though, aren't we? But I mean, if you're a larger survey company, say you've got 15, 20 staff, and you're not going to keep someone if that's all they think about is the money.
Yeah,
they're going to go anyway. But the thing is,
I think it's hard for us to talk personally, isn't it? I mean, me personally, it would take a lot for me to ever think I'm going to leave this firm, because we have such a nice setup for us, don't we? You know,
it's what works for you. But if
it's and it's really, but that's how you built this company, though. You want it to be like this, don't you? So
but like Polly was saying the other day, you know, they've had the same where they've been small and it's been great, but then now that they're a bigger size of 20 people, it's like, and then they're getting young people in, it's like you're going to lose them anyway, aren't you? If somebody
the dynamic shift a bit.
If they go to, say, the HS2 project in the UK, then the values of that company might not be the same as the values of their business, and they might not like the bosses. They might be quite hard. Are we hiring? No, we're not hiring. Well, you could come and work for us, Adrian. No problem.
You just have to make sure you have one of these t-shirts.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
T-shirts enough.
You need a t-shirt
on the side. Yeah. So yeah, we were having a discussion. So this morning we had one of the participants actually asked the question that what would you do in this circumstance if somebody offered one of your employees double their salary, like literally cash, here's loads more money. And we were debating it a little bit. It's quite a difficult one. I mean, I'm no recruitment expert, you know, my bag here is from a marketing perspective, you know, and how to attract that type of customer.
I just don't think there's a yes or no answer to that question. I think it is on a case-by-case thing.
No, I think it is a case-by-case. Yeah, definitely. So
and I think the HS2 thing, as a prime example, what the guy said at the end of that debate, he said, don't burn your bridges type of comment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, I think that could work with HS2, because why wouldn't you let a young member of the team go off and get that experience and earn the extra money and things, and then come back with loads of experience and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just difficult because I know, I mean, it's the same everywhere, you know, they're getting in the work. It's just that they can't do the work because they haven't got the people.
Yeah. That's the thing though, that the person leaving might leave the company that they're going from in like a really bad situation. So why would you be happy about that if you were employing them?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
It's interesting with Indiana State Survey Association when I did their workshop, and when I went into they had little different rooms, and I jumped into some of the rooms and asking them, it's like, oh, we've got loads of sales, and I'm like, okay, so you've got plenty of work. Is that work profitable? Oh well, no. So you know, there's another thing that it'll be also localized, won't it? So there'll be lots of that. Hello, everybody, popping on. Hello, Polly. We're just talking about you. So if everyone wants
really early today.
Everybody's really early this afternoon.
Really early.
Not early this morning. I thought 10 o'clock was actually quite a late morning, but anyway. If you guys want to just put your country as a little flag in the chat, we'll just see where everybody is. What's Sandra put here? If someone is going to offer double salary to one of your employees, he knows something, he knows the value of the human. First thing that you should do is ask yourself, is he right? The answer is yes, you should double it and add something more. Yeah, and that's what we talked about this morning, you know, when Anthony asked the question. You know, if that person's going to have a knock-on effect to your business and it's really a valuable person, then offer that money. It's difficult because then the price of the project needs to go up, so your profit margin's not eroded. So that's
the thing. You could talk about it all day. I think it's a good subject. It's a good discussion.
It's a really good subject. Yeah, definitely. So anyways, yeah, it's a difficult one. Whoop whoop. Duncan, UK, Samantha, US. Awesome. It's really good when you start seeing where everybody's coming from. Romania, Brazil. Don't know. Ask me why I'm doing a weird accent.
No, I know.
Yeah, and I've actually, that's a really good point, Andra. You should never wait for your employee to ask for a raise. And I actually did that once at MDL. I remember my marketing guy, she was brilliant. And I remember I moved to York to set up the headquarters in York and in England. And she actually said to me, I worked my backside off, Elaine, and you haven't given me a pay rise in a year. And I felt really bad. When you're busy and you're doing stuff, and I just thought, I've just completely gone over my head. So yeah, naughty me.
How many are we expecting on this?
There is 38 registered on this one.
Oh.
So usually attendees is usually just over half, around half.
Mm-hmm.
So about 75 altogether, I think. So I'll just give it a couple of minutes and let everybody get on. Sure. So we're just the same format this morning, ladies. If you want to just, Erin, you know what to put on there. There's a couple of links and blogs that you could put on there like you did this morning. Do the same thing.
Yeah. I'll do it when you mention them.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, everybody's much more punctual this afternoon.
We were waiting.
It was like 1 minute, it was at 10 o'clock this morning. I was like, where is everybody? And then suddenly everybody started coming in.
Yeah, we thought it was broken. We were like, are we using the wrong link?
I thought I was blaming Bella. I was like, she's done something to it. People can't get on. I was checking my emails. I was like, has anybody sent me a message?
Funny.
Yes. So yeah, that was quite amusing. So anyways, right, I'm going to get rid of the chat so I don't see that. But if you guys keep an eye on it, anyway, fine.
We'll mute ourselves and start.
Or Sarah went and muted and disappeared. So that's fine. Okay, I'll just give it 1 more minute, then we'll kick it off. So if all the new people that's just come in, if you just want to put in the chat where you guys are actually from, just you can put your flag in there. You can be more specific if you like. It's just always good to see where everybody's come from around the globe. I see lots of faces there that I know, or faces, names. Rolo, hey Rolo, hey Scott, hey Stuart, love it, so good. Kent, woohoo, you made it. Who else have we got on here that I know? I know most people's names actually, from LinkedIn especially. Right, let's get started. Okay, so how to attract and recruit staff through your marketing. In this webinar, you will learn what accelerated and challenged the supply and demand, how candidates are looking, the Mindshift for the employer, and then I'm going to give you 7 steps for super duper recruitment campaigns. So the overall objective of this webinar is to understand the current challenges survey owners face globally and how to stand out from the crowd to attract and recruit staff through your marketing. So I am no recruitment consultant. I'm purely coming at it from a brand awareness building marketing perspective and sharing some of the tips that we can use, and also some of the things that we've thought about from a Get Kids and Survey point of view. So this webinar comes with a very fat, juicy white paper, which you guys will all have access to. So it's a 36-page paper. It's taken me forever, but it's been absolutely fascinating, actually going into more the detail of why are some of these issues happening. So we'll dive straight in. So the people that don't know me, I know my background. My name is Elaine Ball. I am a geospatial marketeer. I started my working life working with my father, who's a mine surveyor and a hydrographer. So he did start off as a land surveyor, but he went into hydrography and mining. We had a manufacturing business called Measurement Devices Limited, MDL, which we sold off in 2012 to Renishaw, and then they sold off quite a lot of the mining equipment to Carlson Software. So you'll probably see some of the MDL kit still floating around. One of the things that was always a bugbear, or I was very conscious of as part of the family business, I was always worried I was in a family bubble. So I would only learn things that, you know, the board of directors would say, my dad, my brother, and the rest of the staff. So it was always, I was very conscious of this. So that's when I went out and I was always finding consultants, training with the Institute of Directors, INSEAD in France. I was always trying to glean new information and bring that back in. One of the biggest bugbears that I had was that I was always explaining and training the consultants when they actually came in on the geospatial solutions and terminologies that, you know, that we use within the industry and also within the survey profession. So it was like, this was a real pain in the backside. So I thought, so when we sold the business off, I thought, I'm going to set up a company specializing in sales and marketing for the geospatial sector. And then it's so much easier for people, like, this is what we've got, this is what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. Off we go. So I work with surveyors and I also work with equipment technology firms all over the globe. We started off doing workshops and consultancy where I was traveling literally on a plane every month. It was exhausting. Then we went into a little bit more retainer work where we actually did the marketing for the companies, which was also very good, and lots of things that we learned from that on a, you know, a different basis. And also what was quite interesting from a global perspective, because you think that'd be slightly different things that was happening, say in the States compared to the UK or Europe, and actually they were very, very similar. So business, the way businesses are run, it's the culture and all that sort of thing. So it's absolutely fascinating. Then, of course, COVID hit, and it was very good for us. We actually grew quite significantly because people really want to know how to sell online. How do they grow their market share? How do they find those other customers that they, you know, traditionally went to a show at, or, you know, that sort of thing. So that was one of the things that we set up. And then we decided that all these webinars that were happening and these workshops, I decided, you know what, I'm going to put this into an academy. So we launched the Geospatial Marketing Academy. Now, at the end of this webinar, I'm going to share with you a little bit more information about the Geospatial Marketing Academy, what it is and who it's for. Plus, we have some bonus information in there for people who are thinking of purchasing it. So I want to just warm you up and share these information with you. So, supply and demand. Talent is a business priority for every business, not just within the survey profession. Now, in May, I headed off down to GeoBusiness in London, and we did a couple of talks with Get Kids and Survey, Alison Watson and University of Newcastle, and a few other people to talk about recruitment and getting kids into survey in general. And I was approached by someone from HS2, which is the construction project happening in the UK for the new rail system going in. And I was quite sort of taken aback when he said to me, right, Elaine, I need some help. How do we find 400 qualified surveyors that I need to find in the next 5 years? I was like, right, interesting. So finding surveyors is nothing new, but there's lots of little elements that we can have a think about. So factors that are actually affecting all these things: the 2008 recession, Brexit, COVID-19, the Ukraine war, politics in general all over the globe are factors, yes. But I am also talking about the global recruitment crisis for the survey profession as a whole, and not as in a political endeavor that is happening at a local level, despite that actually being a factor. Okay, so the shocking news is that the shift has moved from the employer to the candidate or employee, with people moving around, not being loyal to anyone's company. So demand definitely outweighs supply, but we are looking at this in the wrong light. Are we looking at this in the wrong light? So did you know that 50% of the global workforce is now millennial? So those born between 1981 and 1996, and that's increasing to 75% by 2025. So their behavior is colored by their experiences of the global economic crisis in 2008. And this generation placed much more emphasis on their personal needs than on those of the organization. And COVID-19 has actually accelerated this further. So this is a global issue. It's not just a local one. So what we're going to do about it. Right, I'm going to share with you something from McKinsey and Company. Let me just change screens. Let's just dive right into this.
COVID-19 has reshaped the world in ways that will endure long after the pandemic ends. Remote work is here to stay. E-commerce is soaring, automation is accelerating. Our research indicates that the mix of available jobs will change as a result, creating more urgency for training workers for the changes ahead. More than 100 million workers in our focus countries, or 1 in 16, may need to switch occupations by 2030. Job growth will be more heavily concentrated in high-skill jobs, while middle and low-skill jobs decline. The explosion in e-commerce set off a scramble for warehouse workers that is unlikely to stop. Investment in the green economy will increase the need for wind turbine technicians. Demand for photographers may grow to address our increasingly visual ways of communicating. Aging populations in many advanced economies will increase demand for nurses, home health aides, and hearing aid technicians. Teachers and training instructors will also continue to find work over the coming decade. But the forces unleashed by COVID-19 have put other jobs at risk. Business travel is unlikely to recover quickly, and that affects flight attendants, airline mechanics, and baggage handlers. Use of self-checkout stands accelerated during the pandemic, displacing some grocery store clerks. Companies have deployed robotics to process routine paperwork, replacing office workers. We are entering an era of occupational transitions, an era that demands answers to 3 key questions. What new approaches to training can support the millions of people making these transitions? To protect the social fabric, what benefits, such as sick leave and unemployment insurance, are needed for all workers, including gig workers? Can business and government leaders come together to create solutions, not only for navigating the pandemic, but for navigating the post-pandemic world of work?
Good timing, because my screen just froze. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, this is a global issue, not just a political one. So what can we do about it? It's a problem, right? So are you in line with the global recruitment trends? Are you familiar with what candidates are looking for today, post-COVID-19? Did you know about 70% of candidates use Google to search for jobs and research potential employers? In 2008, 88% of millennials surveyed by PricewaterhouseCoopers were looking for employers with CSR, or corporate social responsibility values, that matched their own, and 86% would consider leaving an employer whose values no longer met their expectations. Did you know millennials tend to be uncomfortable with rigid corporate structures and turned off by information silos? They expect rapid progression, a varied and interesting career, and constant feedback. We have not seen a corporate culture like it ever. The trends are looking at us in the face, and we are totally blind to it. Now, you have an even bigger dilemma. You may be stuck in your old ways of marketing, but you have to get savvy with your marketing to actually get people in. Attracting the right candidates, find the right candidates, and of course, communicating to the right candidates. The thing is, over 83% of millennials use Google to search, and with 50% of the global workforce, now millennials, are even more, and actually, are you even on Google to actually get a look in? Do you actually know? So here are 7 factors that have accelerated and challenged the supply and demand. And I'm going to go, when you get the white paper, you'll be able to actually go into these in a lot more detail. So I actually expand on quite a lot of these and reference lots of sources where I found it. But these are the main 7 as an overview: remote working, the onslaught of emerging employee experiences, flexible working to spend more time doing other things, not searching for a job, managers becoming coaches, cross-channel experiences when recruiting, and of course, commitment to ESG values, which I'll touch on in a minute. So remote working and the onslaught of emerging employee experiences, I bet you're thinking, what is that? It's Mindshift from employer to employee. It's changed, okay? So we were actually dumped in it with COVID and all these things that's happened. So according to Forrester research, none of this rising focus has prepared businesses for the commensurate rise of employee power. The very turbulence that your employees just survived has now placed them in a different state of mind. So we're not just talking about millennials here, we're talking about the entire workforce. So how do you solve these problems? Now, it was interesting when Andrea White commented on my post that I did the other day, and she says, I wanted more flexible working hours and more home working so I could combine family and work better. Personally, I think employers are missing a trick by assuming what perks people actually want. So flexible working hours is to spend more time doing other things with family. Not searching for jobs. Now, this is also a really big one and something that you need to think about when it comes to your marketing. Are you marketing those things that people want, not actually, going off and doing different things, or not actually communicating anything at all? So not searching for a job. So the census data actually shows that the majority of people who took a new position weren't actually searching for that job. So these headhunters have actually gone on to LinkedIn, for example, found out who they are and said, oh, you'll be brilliant. By the way, this company has X, Y, Z. So we're going to touch into these in 2 seconds, but these are some of the things that you need to think about to communicate out to the market. So this was a good one, actually. And when I actually did my little video post the other day about coaches, managers becoming coaches, I thought, oh, this is going to be a really interesting topic for some people. So, but career progression and development is seen to be high up there with the employee experience change. Survey bosses will need to address how they manage and turn it around in order to put the emphasis on developing and well nurture that employee. So thinking about it is not going to cut it for the new candidate. You're going to have to show proof. There's going to be planning in there. They all need to be addressed and seen. Okay, so this taps neatly into your content marketing plan and showcasing it from a candidate for the candidates to see. So if you haven't actually been onto my content one-on-one page, Erin can put that into the chat. It just gives you the basics of content marketing and how you can then use it, and use it not just from a marketing perspective, but also to actually raise your profile for a candidate's perspective. So let me just go back one more, that's fine. So how are candidates looking? On average, job seekers use around 18 different sources when searching for jobs, and this is according to Career Builder. So it's not just LinkedIn has been a big focus one, especially for our industry, our profession. Due diligence, okay? People are doing the due diligence. Your customers are doing the due diligence. And the research has found that 74% of your buyers know about you before you know about them. It's the same pretty much with new candidates searching around and looking for stuff. So when they're actually looking for a career, so if you're attracting youngsters in, if you're attracting apprentices in, they're actually doing their due diligence beforehand. This is a really important thing that you need to think about when you're marketing what you have to offer. And are you answering those questions these candidates are actually trying to answer? So the mind shift of the employer. Now, my mum has even adopted Zoom. Change is happening, and it's happened very fast with COVID. Everybody's like launched into it, off you go. So it's accelerated things that are happening and bubbling away in the background. Quite a lot of these reports were quite interesting. This report that I pulled from Pricewaterhouse, they did the initial one in 2008, and then they redid the other one, this year. So it's quite interesting that the data is very much on ball, so to speak. So companies are going to have to adopt a new mindset. So what do you need to hone in on? So the action from this is review the way you do business to assist and cater for a more flexible way of working. Now, I know a lot of you guys will probably be already doing that. So Storm Geomatics did an absolutely fabulous poll, and they asked the same question. So they were intrigued to find out what people were thinking. So when looking for new career or changing companies, what motivates you the most? And look, work-life balance came out on number one. 50% of those 132 people who voted did that. So that now matches the same data gathered by Pricewaterhouse, and I think they had 10,500 people on that survey. Personal development came in a second, and then of course salary was a close third. So these are some of the things that you need to have a think about from a business perspective. Now, we talked about CSR, now it's about environmental social governance. Okay, so the big thing is the ESG. And are you actually showcasing what you're actually doing? So this will become a big thing for recruitment to come, and thinking of those headhunters looking to poach people's employees. Oh, by the way, come to this company because their environmental social governance is very good. And I know that's what you guys are looking for. See how this starts to happen? So it's a key priority globally. So employees need to upskill their marketing communications and reinforce the good things that they are doing to attract a new mindset in candidates, like what Storm Geomatics have done. So I absolutely love this. And it just makes me feel great. So Storm Geomatics launched Storm Wildlife, which is brilliant. So their objective of Storm Wildlife is to seek opportunities to create and protect habitats for nature to thrive so that the future generations can always enjoy life on Earth. Absolutely brilliant. So one of the things I'm going to tap into now, I've got this little 6-minute video, which is about employee branding, so personal branding. So as defined by Meltwater, employee branding is the perception created by the employees and potential employees about your company as a workplace. And this is a big thing to emphasize on. I just want to touch on it and explain it a little bit more details.
What's up, brand builders? Stephen Hurahan here at brandmasteracademy.com. And in this video, you're going to learn what employee branding is with top brand examples. So you can understand how to build trust through cohesion and aligned communication at every touch point. Now, if you're new to the channel and you want to build brands that go beyond the logo and the visuals using strategy, psychology, and creative thinking, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you want to fast track your results, make sure you grab the Pro Brand Strategy Blueprint. It's a free download and the link is in the description. Now, if you've ever had an experience with a brand where you felt very connected to the person that you were talking to, as if they felt connected to the brand that they were representing, or that they might have personified the brand that they were representing, well, that is employee branding in action. And in this video, I'm going to show you why it's becoming so popular and how you can use it to grow your brand reputation and trust. So what is employee branding? Well, modern brands today have many, many touch points. They have upwards of 100 touch points in some cases. And many of those touch points are face-to-face, many are digital, some are over the phone, some are through an interactive experience. There are many different ways that you can engage with a brand, but a cohesive and aligned brand is one that you feel a trust towards. You feel safety because that cohesion and that consistency is a sign of predictability. And when you can predict what somebody is going to do, you feel safe and you're drawn towards them. And that is an innate nature that we have. We want to feel safe with the people that we're around, with the brands that we do business with. And that consistency appeals to that human nature of predictability, and that helps us to develop this sense of trust towards them. So employee branding is all about that consistency. It's all about employees representing the brands on the front lines, understanding what the brand is about and how to deliver that brand's communication so that the communication of the brand is consistent from top to bottom, from inside to out. So what's the difference between employee branding and employer branding? Well, we're probably a little more used to the term employer branding. It's been around a bit longer, and it's all about the brand developing a reputation amongst employees or the workforce that it is a great place to go and work. Employee branding, on the other hand, is not appealing to the employees, it's appealing to the wider audience through the employees. So a brand with a strong employer brand brings in the best talent from around. They educate those people on how to go and represent the brand. And through employee branding, those employees go out and represent the brand to the wider audience. So what are the advantages of strong employee branding? Well, strong employee branding, first and foremost, leans on a strong brand culture. If you don't have a strong brand culture, then chances are you're not going to be able to have strong employee branding, because it is those employees that are representing the brand. They go out into the marketplace, or they speak to the wider audience, or they engage with the audience online, and they represent the brand. They communicate the brand and deliver the brand message. And if those employees aren't satisfied within their work, if they don't enjoy what they do, if they don't enjoy coming to work, then they're not going to be able to communicate that brand message, and they're not going to be able to deliver the values and the essence of the brand because they are unhappy in their role or they're not being fulfilled in their role. So employee branding really does lean on that strong brand culture. The employees need to feel connected to the brand that they're representing. But once they do that, then how they feel, if they feel connected to the brand, the sense of connection to that purpose, the sense of connection to those values permeates through the communication that they have with the wider audience. And that communicates a healthy and aligned brand. So let's have a look at an employee branding example. Now, Zappos is a brand that I've referred to before because it's a brand that I really like, because Zappos at the end of the day is just a shoe company. They just sell shoes, and you wouldn't expect a company like that to have such a strong brand and such a connection with their audience, but they do because of the brand communication that they have, because of the essence of the brand and what they believe. Now, when Zappos takes on new staff, they have a process in place that makes sure that the staff that they take on are aligned with who the brand is. And that's a really, really important factor for Zappos. They want to know that the people coming into their business and are going to represent their brand are aligned in terms of their values and what they believe. Now, once those employees come on board, they have a 4-week training program that they put them through to educate them on their brand, about the vision that they have for the brand, about the values, and of course, how to behave and how to represent the brand in the marketplace. So Zappos is a great example of employee branding because those employees then go to market with a clearly defined image of what the brand is about, clearly aligned values to who the brand is, and they go out and communicate that brand to the audience, and the audience feels that. Now, when you hear the term employee branding or brand culture, you get images of big corporate brands with hundreds or thousands of employees, and you might think that it's only applicable to those kinds of big businesses. But introducing employee branding is actually much more difficult to introduce to a much bigger organization. And small businesses can really take advantage of this. If small business are able to put in place the processes to introduce employee branding into their business, into their operations, then over time that becomes part of the fabric of the business. Every new employee coming on board has a process to follow and they know how to represent the brand. And then over time that just becomes part of the fabric of the brand. So it's not just for big business. If you're able to introduce processes into your brand in the early stages, then that can set the tone for how the brand is adopted in the marketplace. Now, if you want to learn how to create an employee branding process for your business or for your client's business, then this video will give you a step-by-step guide on how to do just that. Until next time, brand like a master, and I'll see you in the next video. What's up, brand builder? Stephen Hurahan.
So that was a really nice piece to actually explain about employee branding. And there's two people I just want to mention. The first one, which you'll probably see, especially from a UK perspective, a lot going on with Hexagon and Leica. They're always, the guys are on the bandwagon all the time, commenting about stuff, and that you can see that how their values have actually developed. Now, I don't know if they do any official brand development in their business, but the other person is, if you don't know them, is Surveying with Robert Martin, who resells Trimble equipment. He's a surveyor in the States, and he's actually trebled his income because of his personal branding or employee branding. So he's very much about promoting and pushing the Trimble product line. And he's done it in a very factual, black and white kind of way, sharing ideas of like, this is how you set up this total station or this scanner. This doesn't work very well. He's very frank, which sometimes is a bit close to the bone, probably for Trimble, but he's then created a trust with his surveyors because they trust in what he actually has to say. So have a look at his page on YouTube. Definitely highly recommend that you follow him. So I want to share this has got two sort of sides to it. So one is understanding the values of your employees, what's important to them. So this one here, Sam's put in here, the environmental issues important to him. And he's an outdoorsy type of person, fun, he likes hill climbing, cold water swimming. So it was a bonus to play around in rivers. So it's looking at these different values from a perspective, an employee perspective, but actually then, tapping that into when they actually communicate that back to the wider audience. And I've got some really good examples to show you on what Jacobs have done next. So there's 7 steps for literally a super duper recruitment campaign. Now in the white paper, you'll be able to download each step's homework. So I go into massive detail in each section. But so for this webinar, I'm just going to give you a few pointers that you can take away today. So step one is having a process for recruitment and outlining what you want. Sounds simple. You think, yeah, we do that all the time, not a problem. Yeah, but are you actually making sure that you tick the boxes of the things that you do actually need to put on there that your candidates are looking for? And also when your people are searching for that type of job. Second one is setting up a landing page. And this is the same format as when you went to develop and find customers and nurturing those potential buyers. And in this case, the candidates, you want to nurture those candidates. So you're attracting the best quality candidate. So when they do apply, then they are really good. They're really good quality. Then of course, answering all those questions. So again, same sort of thing with your marketing perspective, answering those questions those candidates will have and weeding out the ones that are not quite a good fit for you and actually answering those things. Then of course, the interviews and building social proof. And we showed the social proof previously from Storm Geomatics, you know, why actually people do want to work for them, why they like working for Storm Geomatics. Then we've got planning your recruitment campaign. So I could actually do a whole webinar just on recruitment, the recruitment campaign. But I'm going to give you and share with you some of the little bits and pieces that you can take away today. But again, I go into a lot more detail in the white paper. Then, and I know for a fact, a lot of you guys do struggle with the creative side. So I've actually found some absolutely brilliant recruitment campaigns that you could actually steal the ideas and turn them into something that you're actually doing. So I'm going to share that with you. And then of course, step 7 is measuring that it's working and the control in the journey. So actually when they're going through the journey. So step number 1 is having a process for recruitment and outlining what you want. So what do you want? What specifically do you want? What's to expect when you work for us? So what are some of the things that the candidates need to know about what happens, you know, when you come and work for us, what actually goes on? And then actually having a document that explains your purpose. Why are you actually on this planet? Why are you here? What are you trying to do or trying to achieve? Then, of course, communicating your vision, where you're heading to, you know, that North Star. And of course, the mission, the steps that you're going to do to get to that North Star. What does it feel like? What does it sound like to work for us? And then, of course, what does it look like? What's the visual? We all hear about Google and Apple and how ace it's to work. You know, look, you think of Google and you just think of big bean bags and colorfulness and, you know, little places to think. But it's the same thing within your survey firm. You know, what are some of the things when they come to work for you? If they're out on the road, what, you know, what's it like? That sort of thing. Then, of course, your ideal persona. Now, the same as your buyer persona, you need to do one for your candidate persona. So what is your ideal type of candidate? And Sam put earlier, you know, he's an outdoorsy person. He likes fun, hill climbing, cold water swimming. You know, are those the traits that you want to attract in your survey firm? Those type of people. And then how do you go about recruiting to find that type of person? So I've picked on Jacobs. I absolutely love their careers website page. It was just stood out really well. I thought, oh, they look really good to work from. So when you look at it, you think, oh, this is really good. The first thing you see is employees' testimonials, and you can actually click in those and go into further detail. And I thought that was really nice touch. And they flipped around, so you've got a few on there that people have said what they like about different departments. Then, of course, they've got life at Jacobs. What do you expect? So again, use this as a bit of an idea of what you could put on your landing page. Because when I looked at the Survey Association's website in the UK, and pretty much those 90+ survey jobs, most of them, when you clicked on the job, just took you to the website. Big deal. It's like you've lost someone straight away. It's just poof, disappeared. Where you could actually had them going straight to a landing page where you can measure how many people's gone to that page, and they're looking for recruitment, and 2, you know, how they stay on that page, and you're feeding that specific funnel. So have a think about that. Then you've got things like helpful resources and stuff like that. And with Jacobs, you've got a map and where you want to work and that sort of thing. Then, of course, with your landing pages, is it mobile friendly? You know, are you making it easy for the candidate to actually apply? You know, is it nice and smooth? Is it seamless? And we talked a little bit about that previously, about seamless, you know, omni-channel experiences, like just what we do with Amazon. You go into Amazon, it's so easy to navigate and order, and then, oh my God, the printer's is arriving tomorrow. How did that happen? So it's making it simple. So this is all part of what your marketing campaign will include. Now, basically, you want to answer all those questions. So all those questions that your candidate will be thinking when they're applying for the job, even to the fact was, what is the 10 best companies to work for in America? Okay, here is some examples. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't want to share my competitors and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but they're on your website. So make it like, well, what about these guys? These guys are ace. They're sharing all this. So these are some of the things. 2 really good books for you. Absolutely love these books. I wish I got commission on these books because they're just, I've told people to buy these all the time. The first one is Content Fuel Framework by Melanie Diesel. Just sets out the content in a framework for you and very easy to use for your own marketing, but also from a recruitment perspective. And then of course, the amazing Marcus Sheridan. Now, if you're not following Marcus Sheridan on LinkedIn, follow him. He is brilliant, very frank, black and white, but he's got a brilliant book, They Ask You Answer. And it's all about the specific questions that you should answer, because if it's not your competitor, your candidates will be asking and thinking that. So they're going to go elsewhere to find it. So you want to rule out time you get them into the application form. And then in there, you want to rule out the wheat, the rubbish that you know that you're not going to get, that you don't want in your business. You want the ones that are actually strong enough candidates to come through. So an action, a really good action for you to think about is on a flip chart. You could discuss these queries that you could answer to satisfy a candidate's questions. So write them down. And if you've got junior staff that you've just applied, or you've actually got people that's already started with you, ask them some of the questions that they would have liked to have known before they actually came in the funnel. Make it easy, that process easy and simple. So I want to share this absolutely fabulous little video from Storm Geomatics, just to give you a little bit about interviews and also the social proof that they're using, and they've got this on their recruitment site.
To work in and it's fun.
So I spend half my time out on site doing site work and half my time in the office processing all the data we collect. When we're going out on site, I get a lot of information from the client, so specifications which we need to go through. We carry tripods around which we put the total station on. The total station is put on the top of the tripod, it's then leveled. The surveyor then goes off with the GPS, and the GPS is used to position that total station. So the total station knows distance and angles, but it doesn't know whereabouts in the UK it is. I have to go off and take some points on the GPS and use some trigonometry. Take the 2 GPS points, the total station knows where those 2 GPS points is in the UK or wherever it is. And then when you start surveying with the prism and the pole, we'll know exactly what the height, eastings and northings are of every point that you've taken, and that can define the profile of the river. We place our data in our software, which is then used so we can draw up our cross sections. I found Storm Geomatics through Twitter, did an interview, got the job, and I started as a trainee surveyor. It's quite specialised, not many companies survey rivers, so it's kind of niche, but you get to learn from them. When it's summertime, you go to site and your work is basically just a pristine river, put your waders on and measure this lovely area. So that's what I really enjoy about the job. It's quite hard when it's wet and cold and you're in a place where it's just sideways rain all day, and you're trying to press buttons on the controller and you can't feel your fingers. That can be difficult, but it's all swings and roundabouts.
So day to day when we're on site, I will help the surveyor that's in charge of the job. Similarly, I will help process data, sort out sort of photographic reports of sites. So I did environmental earth sciences as my degree, so mostly physical geography, but it's very much kind of related material, which has helped me to understand how this job works and why we do what we do. So I think I would struggle to have a full-time office job. So being able to go out on site and, like Tom said, go to really nice places all over the UK, I quite enjoy that aspect of it. But at the same time, I do enjoy being able to sit down and actually take the data that we went out and collected and see the kind of end product. I didn't have any specific experience for this job, but I used to be a lifeguard, so I managed to gain experience in other jobs that I've had that are then transferable to this job. But I'd say to just do as many things that you enjoy as you can, and just to take as much as you can from those, and those skills will enable you to start getting jobs in areas that you want to explore, and then you can build from there, and that's exactly what I did.
Absolutely brilliant video from Storm Geomatics there. So planning your recruitment marketing campaign. So a marketing campaign is an organized course of action to promote or to sell, and in this case, recruitment. Okay. So survey business owners need to think like a marketeer in order to see the wood for the trees. So your recruitment campaign should fit into your existing marketing communications plan. It should target a specific persona, as I talked about earlier, and attract and educate that particular persona. So it's exactly the same process as your marketing and gaining new customers. Okay, so survey business leaders need to focus on educating the audience they are targeting. And how can we engage people to educate them about what we have to offer? So I'm not going to go into tons and tons of detail here, but it'll be in the white papers that you'll be able to download and get this information. So there's a few things here that I just want to touch on. The first thing is understanding your why, who, where, and how in your campaign. So with the why is, why are we actually running this campaign? The silly question. To attract new audience and recruit that surveyor. And then what do we need to achieve? We want to achieve the ideal persona. So it's understanding, first step is who that particular persona, that person that you want to recruit. Then we go into the who. Who is the audience target to be? You know, be specific. What is the job title? Where they're going to be located? What are they? Where are they in their career development? What are some of the things that they need to know about? What are the pain points? Again, thinking about that. Do they have specifically? And what do they care about? So understanding those things. So for example, need to be around my family more, but a thirst for problem solving and fulfillment in their job. Okay. Next is what. So what is your messaging? How will you compel your audience to act? So this is where we touch on things like taglines, slogans, hashtags, messaging, and spin. Okay, now with this, again, in this white paper, you can download the white paper, and I've actually made it very clear what all these different marketing terms actually mean. So if you've not got any clue about what I've just said, you'll have it in there as a step-by-step guide. Now, I know that a couple of people have asked me about keyword free sources that they can find keywords related. The thing is with surveying, is a very niche subject, and then you guys will have then specific niches within surveying. So you're going to have to think a little bit more creative, but there is some tools that you can use. We have things like keyword tool, answerthepublic.com, hashtags.org, Write Tag, spelled RITE tag, and then SME keyword magic tool and Google keyword planner. So again, these are in the white paper, so don't worry so much if you're like trying to get them down. Okay, these are all the kind of things that's going to help you put that little bit of extra into your planning in your campaign. Then it's all about the where will you deliver your message? So for example, talking about local sports clubs, recruitment fair, your own fair, schools, using class of your own, you know, dialing into what Alison Watson's doing on a global basis. She's got the survey curriculum into schools for 15 and 16-year-olds, you know, working with her and like, how can we get apprentices from her, that sort of thing. And then of course, things like social media platforms, you know, and actually using your own website. So it's that funnel. So where will the message reach your intended audience more effectively? So I know, you know, we talked about earlier, Jack was on about he was a lifeguard, you know, so if you are like, you know, Storm Geomatics are specialist river surveyors, then contacting all the lifeguard places, the rowing clubs, things like that. The next stage is then the conversion. So it's all about building that up to make you guys, you as in the business, aware, and to the candidates aware of your business. Oh, a mouthful there, wasn't it? Then the next thing is the how. So how will you engage your audience? This is tapping you through this campaign. How will you deliver the message? Do you need to gather and produce specific content? Do you need to get your colleague to help you in this planning? Do you need to register for any events and key things in the campaign? And you also have to stay organized. With the campaign as well, you'll need to, of course, I've touched on the staff members to help you, but also then timelines and schedules and actually plotting out a bit of a budget. So these are the key things. Again, the white paper goes into tons more detail about it. Now, the fun stuff. So let's get creative, shall we? With a big fat C, that's the main thing. So you don't have to spend a fortune when it comes to creative marketing. You can be different and capture people's attention. But the thing is, with creative marketing, it's making sure that you have that journey plotted out, that funnel. So when you've done a fun campaign, then where does it lead to? Then where? So you're warming up that audience, and that's the key thing. So for example, how to this, I have no idea, but this is one of the things that I thought was quite funny. And you could actually do something a little bit different in your own local newspaper. So men wanted for a hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness. Constant danger, safe return, doubtful. Honor and recognition in case of success, Ernest Shackleton. So could you actually do something in your local newspaper that's a little bit different to what you actually do? Why not? Now, this is probably one of my favorite. When I saw this, I was like, I want to go work for these guys. I mean, it was so fun. So the proof is in the video.
These are the front lines, the places in business and life where we pitch, we pry, we persuade, where we turn no into maybe, and maybe into yes, where we make rain, move metal, and make the cash register sing. This is sales. At Ogilvy, we built our business on it, and David's original mantra still holds true today. We sell, or else. So, we're looking for the world's greatest salesperson. Is it you? Do you know your customer, her brand strategy, even her dog's name? Do you know when to unleash the perfect pat, a firm handshake? Do you follow up and then follow up again? Do you dig for insights like a pig for truffles? Do you reject rejection? If so, we're looking for you, and we want you to help us become even better at selling. Just submit a video of yourself selling this brick. That's it. You could win a trip to Cannes and a fellowship at Ogilvy. And most important of all, place and immortality. So show us what you've got. Prove you're the world's greatest salesperson. We're waiting for you. Close us.
Isn't that ace? Could be the world's greatest surveyor. How about that one? Something like that. Now that's Ogilvy. I had to use Ogilvy because they're just amazing. But it just shows you, it's simple, show us how to sell a brick. You know, could you do something a bit quirky with, you know, your survey business? Stand out from the crowd. So the next one, now this is probably a little bit more related to survey as well. And you could do something a little bit more quirky with this. Now, Cryptic Billboards. So in 2004, a confusing Silicon Valley billboard, in the States, of course, presented a mathematical puzzle to passers-by. Anyone clever enough to solve it ended up with www.742746639.com. So I got that no problem. So where they were faced with another challenge, on completion, they were met with another message. So the message actually then said, nice work, well done. You've made it to Google Labs, and we're glad you are here. One thing we learned while building Google is that it's easier to find what you're looking for if it comes looking for you. What were you looking for are the best what we're looking for are the best engineers in the world, and you are here. Congratulations. So this campaign generated discussions on mathematical engineering forums, and even before the architect of the message became clear and gave Google access to a small group of enthusiastic problem solvers, a trait that the company values highly. So this is some of the things I was thinking about. Could you do something quirky, like find something on a map, or, you know, do a trigonometry puzzle or something like that? Not necessarily on a billboard, because that might be very expensive. You could do it in the local newspaper and have a QR code on that billboard, on that newspaper article advert, where they scan over it with their phone. And then, of course, when you use your camera now on your phones, it pops up with the web address. I was like, this is so cool. Click on the web address, it takes you directly to the landing page. So then you can measure it. Okay, so you could be quirky like that. Now there's loads I can share with you. I had another one in here from the Swedish Army, but we've only got so much time today. So I'll leave you to have a little investigate from the white paper. Next is the measure and control the journey. So your marketing campaign has an objective, and it also has a call to action. So there are 4 stages in this process. The first thing, of course, is the creativeness. It's grabbing the attention. That's where your socials come in. That's where your top of funnel stuff, your campaign management, you know, those cool little quirky videos that Ogilvy did and stuff like that, that cryptic sign. Then it's all about educating them. So when you've put it out there to the target buyer, the persona, then they've taken note, then they come to your landing page. You're then now educating them. Okay, so why us? Why join us? Here are some of the things that will answer your questions that you're thinking. Then it's all about building relationships. So if it's online, socials, via LinkedIn, whatever it is, it's building those relationships, sharing information, and then making it simple for that candidate then to click on an application form that's fill in the details, tick the boxes that you like to do, and then you've got that information in. So it's making that process seamless and easy for that candidate. Now, for those that are in GMA, I know I've got a couple of GMAs on here today, whoop, whoop. And also any of the other webinars that you guys might have attended that I've done, I do talk about the customer journey in quite a lot of detail, which is really important because people don't actually think about the full customer journey. Now, this also relates to the candidates, you know, attracting these candidates. The customer journey starts off with problem not aware. So, you know, they're either the young guys that they don't know, you know, like this, Jack, the surveyor, who was actually a lifeguard, you know, what brought his attention, you know, what actually, how do you find stuff on Twitter, for example? So making that problem aware, so grabbing that attention. Then they're going to do a little bit of digging around. They're going to do a little bit of investigation work. So that's where the research wheel turns around, because it's not actually linear. Then when they get onto the site, it's information, education, and understanding that information. And one of the things that you should be doing as well is having different call to actions depending on where they are in this funnel, in this journey. So they might want to have just watch some videos, that's fine. They don't want to just go straight in and apply for the job. It might not be for them, so they want to dig around. So if you don't have anything like that on your website, like testimonials, further information, answering questions, they have nothing to go on. So they're not going to apply. You don't sound that good. And this is one of the things that when I looked on the TSA's website in the UK, and I was clicking on all these different jobs to see what they were doing, I was like, it's like somebody who wants to surveyor and like, do I get Joe Blogs down the road or do I get you? Or you're both about the same, or I'll go on price. It's the same thing. Okay, so this is some of the things that you guys need to have a think about. So we are now into Google Analytics 4. So if anybody hasn't upgraded their Google Analytics, make sure you do so, because you will lose past information. They're going to upgrade it next year, but this is the old Google, which most of you will still be on. But when you using your analytics is checking to see, is the page working? You'll know because you get the quality inquiries at the end, the applications. It's the same with the selling, you know, you're getting the sales at the end of it. So you need to sort of re-engineer and go backwards to actually find out what's working. So for example, this one here, this was just a post that was out, a blog post. It had 259 unique page views. And then of course it had 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 30 on the site. So we knew that people were reading that content. And then where they're coming, where's the entrances? The entrances was a really important one, where they all coming from different places. So you can actually think about those things when you're doing your metrics side. So what do you need to measure? Measure number of people seeing the social post, circulation of the advert. You know, how many people has it gone out to in your local newspaper? Number of visitors at the event or the fair. So that's top end of funnel stuff. Then, of course, you go into social post clicks in action, numbers of QR codes scanned. So if you're using QR codes in your newspaper or on leaflets or whatever you're doing, even going back to snail mail, that sort of thing. So again, it's tapping into the same sort of things that you would do for a buyer, but with the recruitment side. Then, of course, educating YR's time on the pages. Are they actually reading it? Building relationships, interaction on socials, request to access white papers or link up with managers, that sort of thing, applying for the job. And then, of course, the sealing the deal, the recruitment process and closure. So in conclusion then, talent is a business priority. COVID-19 has accelerated the shift in employee mindset. Surveyor leaders need to stop thinking, or should I say, stop talking and take immediate action today using this marketing that they're going to do. Survey companies need to educate themselves and the change of mindset. So taking some of those things from that white paper, doing a little bit more investigation, thinking, right, okay, what do we need to do differently to change this? Because it does need a change. And then, of course, setting a marketing campaign focused on recruitment. So your action today from this, the to-dos, is download the white paper that is going to accompany this webinar. And yeah, get stuck in, guys. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions before we jump on to a little bit about the Geospatial Marketing Academy? Oh, loads of people have jumped on as well. That's good. Okay, so what have we got here? Let's see. Will these slides be available after the webinar? Absolutely, Stuart, not a problem. Yep, she's already answered that one. Great idea. Thanks, Elaine. I need to cut off early. That's fine. Oh, Ryan Swingley jumped on. That's great. How do you keep up with global recruitment trends? So again, I've got the links in the white paper for you to keep your eyeballs on it. And it's quite interesting when I've gone around looking at the different sites and stats, that's some of the things I'm like, okay, does this correlate to this? Now, what we should do, or should one of us should actually probably think about doing this, and maybe it's in a survey association thing, I don't know, because it'll take a bit of money, is to actually just do the specific survey within the profession. So that's some of the things I probably need to think about. Do we have any other questions about the webinar? Okay, if they pop on, that's fine, not a problem. Okay. No. Okay, so just want to give you a little bit of an update on the Geospatial Marketing Academy. So as I mentioned at the start, we launched the Geospatial Marketing Academy last year, pretty much from COVID. So Geospatial Marketing Academy is a 10-week program. You can spend as little, you can spend as fast as 10 weeks. I've actually challenged one of my GMAs to do it in 10 weeks. So we'll see what happens and how he gets on. And some people will take much longer, and that is fine. GMA is lifelong access to the version that you purchase. So at the moment, we're in version 1.0. It's all about giving you the tools or the stuff that you need to do that's proven, tried, and tested in the market. It shares some academic things, but it's mainly practical. It's a practical training tool that we know works because we've tested it with our customers. So the lessons, we have everything from introduction, foundations, fundamentals, then we go into things like building your brand. And we do touch on a lot more detail with the campaign management. So you will actually take the stuff that you learn out of the white paper, but we go into even more detail. And this is what you should do. And we literally take you through it. Then we do things like content marketing and all that jazz. And we teach you what works and what not to do. So these are some of the key things that we put into these the courses. The lessons are around 15 minutes to an hour. So they all depending on how in depth they need to be. And also some of the subjects like content marketing is a beast of a subject. So we've gone into a little bit more detail just to explain those bits and bobs. Now, the Geospatial Marketing Academy comes with School. So School is a community platform for people to interact. So when you become a GMAer, as we call you, a member of the Academy, we don't just leave you to it unless you want to be left alone, because quite a few people do. They just want to implement it, get on with it, and off they go. But also some people want to ask those questions. So you have the Academy, which is a safe private zone. We have rules in the Academy. Everybody's very good, very polite, helps each other out. So you can ask and post questions. We have a calendar function on here as well. So you can actually join our live Q&A. So we have a live Q&A every week where you can come on and speak to me. You can share some information. You can share your screen, like we've set up this campaign. What do you think? So on and so forth. So that's really good. The other thing about School is that if you post something, sometimes it's quite handy because we have technology manufacturers in here and we also have surveyors. I think it's mainly predominantly surveyors now, which is even better. So we have a mixture. When, for example, one of our equipment sellers posted a post, which works better on this campaign, this version or this version? Loads of people said, oh, this version is much better. So it's good you're learning off each other. So that's the other thing, learning off what others are doing, and they can ask, it's in a safe place to do it. So who is this for? This is for business owners of survey businesses, and also the administrators or people who have got responsibility of the marketing but don't necessarily know where to even begin with it. So we have literally step by step on how to do the process. It's also for the dealers, the technology dealers, those marketing in there. And again, they could have an academic marketing background, but they don't actually have a geospatial survey background in the marketing, and just need to know what actually works and what's been tested and proven within the market. And of course, even the juniors go through it because we have an index of information. You have the support network. So, even if you've hired a junior intern to come on, we can hold their hands and walk them through it. Now, if you purchase before the end of June, we're also going to give you a bit of bonus information, a bit of bonus training in there. So we have exclusivity, and this is exclusive for the GMA 1.0. We have the search engine optimization, Tim Kitchen, who's absolutely brilliant. And he's going to give you information on how to do keyword research, on-site optimization, your content, your offshore promotion, and then UX audit. So things that are actually really important. And I said to him about a year ago, so he did this about a year ago, and I said to him recently, are all these things still relevant, Tim? Because, Google changes all the time. He says, yep. He says, I'm happy with that. That's fine. If there's anything that we need to change, then that'll come in the next version. So that's good. So we valued that out about £1,000 for that section, that lessons. Then we've also got Paul Riley from Tom Riley Associates, and I've worked with Paul. I was recommended him through Sila in the States, Trimble equipment reseller. So I went on to use him to help me with Topodot to help with things like that. And he, for example, focuses on things like prospecting, sales call, and persuasion. So again, these are included within this bonus if you purchase it before the end of June. So how much does it cost? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. The price of the course is £3,500. If you're in a VAT registered country, it's plus VAT. If you're not, that's fine. You don't need to pay that. So it's around $4,300 roughly. I have to look on xe.com to check for the day. So you can pay via Stripe. You can also take that payment and split it into over 3 months, which is also, better for lots of companies. It's a lifetime access. So you get access lifetime for that version that you're purchasing. You get access to the private school. And of course, you get all the download material. There's loads and loads of download material. So a little bit of information here from Storm Geomatics. So Polly had put, starting the GMA course has led to a significant upsurge in new survey business. We have gained 4 times the cost of GMA in revenue, and new clients coming on board all the time. I can link this directly back to the practices learned through GMA. Thank you very much, everybody. Do we have any questions? You are great. No problem. Thank you, sweet Elaine. Oh, thank you very much. Andra. Yeah, I've had to go and close the door because the dog was barking outside, and now I'm absolutely boiling in here. It's like a hot oven. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Rolo. Hope you're doing well. I will be sending these information out. Is there any other questions on here? Thanks, Elaine. Lots of work on. Yeah. I have to create quirky recruitment campaign. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, let's give some ideas. The creative stuff is probably the hardest stuff actually for lots of people. It's coming out with creative. Get the Ogilvy book. I've got the advertising book. It's really old actually. Where was it? I did have it somewhere in here. The Ogilvy's advertising book is really good. It's quite old fashioned. I think they printed it in the 70s or 80s. That's a really good book to get, just to give you creative ideas, really. So brilliant. I think we hit about 30 people on here, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's good. Brilliant. Oh, Scott's come on 3 times. Has he messed up my figures? Really interesting, and I'm sure TSA can work with employers to make that job page more dynamic. Absolutely, Alan. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's Alan from the Survey School, guys. So in the UK, and it actually quite interesting. Ben actually mentioned this morning about not having like advanced training places in the States. So I don't know if Kent's still on here, is he? No, he's not. So I was going to ask Kent, but I'll ask Timothy at the NSPS to find out what they're actually doing in America from a training day-to-day perspective, because there must be little training hubs around. Follow people you wouldn't regularly follow on socials. Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree with that comment. So I love that. Lots to work on. Off to create a quirky recruitment campaign. Brilliant. Yes, they're available. You've already answered those. God, there's quite a few questions beforehand, wasn't there? Yeah, what time is it in the States? So it's 9 o'clock in California. Okay. Worcestershire. Brit from Storm, yay. I love it when you see where everybody's come from. It's great.
Yeah, I do.
Save chat. Brilliant. Ducking out, thanks, no worries. Is the issue increased demand or lack of supply of skills, and what? And if interventions can be put in place by central UK government? Do you know what? Sod bloody UK government. It's going to take too long. They're like, we have to grasp this nettle by our hands. We have to get on with it. I think from a skills shortage, yes, we've had it, but the problem is global. When I go to speak to the Americans, it's the same issue there. If I speak to the Australians, it's the same issue there. So it's not just a UK issue. That's why I mentioned the things at the beginning. You know, like you have all the local stuff. I mean, and a lot of the surveyors I was chatting to at GeoBusiness, for example, said, oh, it's Brexit. We shouldn't have done Brexit and all that. And I'm like, wait a minute here. That is a different thing. That Brexit, okay, we won't go into politics on this thing, but that's a whole new subject. The thing is, yes, there has been a mass exodus of surveyors in the UK because of Brexit, but there's also a shortage in Europe. So have they switched jobs? Have they changed something else? You know, where have they gone? So there is a demand problem, but I think as well, it's years and years and years of not actually doing recruitment. And we see it with the universities all around the world, especially in the UK, because I'm being in the UK, I can see it. You know, they were getting 35 people in a class. Now it's 6 in Newcastle University, which is just shocking. Government, we have to do it as a community. We have to join together as a community and work on it and increase it. And we have to get better at marketing, Rebecca. That's the other thing. You know, not just wait for the customers to come in and wait, you know, look at the profit margins and waiting for the people. We have to recruit properly and market our businesses better at the end of the day. And that is my job, to up level the industry's marketing and sales perspective. So great though, great question. Oh, Mike popped on. Hey, Mike. Ooh. Yeah, I like that. We could that could be a post actually, Erin, what Rebecca said.
Okay.
We could do something on that.
And paste it.
Yeah. I think what we said before, you know, like speaking to some recruitment people, and on recruiting and 2 on retention. I mean, I have no idea about, well, you have a little bit of an idea about retention and culture and stuff like that. But like somebody who specializes in that could be a really good thing to have a chat about. Do you think the shortage of skills could push fees up and in turn salaries for surveyors? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think, you know, like with the skills specifically, it's that demand and it's tapping into resources, you know, like Alison Watson. And I mean, she's pushing a lot with the government, isn't she? With the getting the survey into the schools. I think there is a positive to it, definitely. I think as well, surveyor, I mean, you guys are pretty good with your stuff, but I think because you're so niche, it's very, and the thing is, a lot of survey companies are niche, they just don't see it. So they try and go after everything and then they just become general. And I think that's a problem with quite a lot of survey companies. If they focus down on the stuff that they're really good at and become great at that, then they showcase their uniqueness, which then attracts a specific kind of person, because you are in a niche, so to speak. I mean, that's why, you know, in my old days working with my dad, you know, we had borehole deployable cavity scanners. There was no other competitor on the market that did that, bar Optech, but that was a deployable on a boom. So I think I can't even remember the size of Cal's, the cavity scanner, but like it was such a unique thing. And, you know, not from speaking about from a recruitment perspective, but from a buyer's perspective, we were then chosen for it. We had pretty much a monopoly on the market for cavity scanning. So, yeah. Have you seen the demand for geospatial skills report? Yes, I have. Yeah. Olivia sent me it when it came out. Was it last year? October? Can't remember now. Look at surveyors as a subset, but it was completed in November. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's I think it's the knock-on effect, isn't it? It's the knock-on effect. Oh, brilliant. She's awesome. Whoop, whoop. I sent it to her actually yesterday that I was doing this. So yeah, she's lovely. We have some amazing people all over the world. That's like joining everybody up, all these amazing people. And, you know, oh yeah, okay, cool. Got you. So it's working with these people and bringing all these skills together and stuff like that, you know, and it's like what's happening in all the countries is the same thing. And what can we do to pull our resource together? This is why podcasting is really good. So if you're not on, you know, if you're not following Geoholics or Boundary, what's Peter's called? Defining Boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
In the States, you know, it's in the States, in Australia, it's pulling all these different podcasts together and sharing them out as well from a marketing perspective. Yes, I know. I saw her post on LinkedIn. So yeah, good on her. So she sent to saying, oh, can't wait to start. Yeah, she's great. I found someone who talks more than me, Rebecca. Who's just as excited about surveys.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Is she Swedish or Danish or something? Her background, she lives in London now, doesn't she, though? But can't remember where she was from. So yeah, she's crazier than me. It's great. I attract these people. Alison Watson, she's just as crazy as me as well. No, she's worse than me. And she'll watch this later and she's like, I'll get you back, Elaine. I'll get you back. She's French. Oh, she doesn't sound French. She's French. Wow. She's excitable for a French person.
Olive is quite a French name, isn't it?
Olivia, yes, it is. Yeah. Yes. So anyways, it's all good. It's all good. So we've got all these people still hanging out. This is grand. If you guys have any more questions, just want to hang out with us. Wow. Right, everybody, I'm going to kick you all off. I just need to brief my team before I'm going out for dinner. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I will get this white paper over to you guys. And then, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate your time. And now to go off and recruit some fabulous people. I'll call you guys on the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Okay.